Good afternoon, everybody. Big Mike back here with you once again. Welcome back to Big Mike Talks, where today I'm going to be talking about the week that was in pro wrestling. So I'm going to cover Monday Night Raw, NWA Power, and AEW Dynamite. Pretty dang exciting week so far. With Raw, WWE building to Bash in Berlin, AEW building to All In Wembley. That's going to be a fun one. And NWA building to NWA 76, their 76th anniversary, which is really darn cool. So we're going to get started with Monday Night Raw. Start off with highlights from SummerSlam of the Judgment Day situation. We then go to an in-ring promo from Rhea Bloody Ripley. It's always good to see her on Raw. I don't care if it's a promo, a match, or whatever. She's great. She starts out, had a lot of time to think about what happened at SummerSlam. I really relive it in my head day after day. I felt every emotion possible, including embarrassment, heartbreak, but right now, I'm just feeling pissed the hell off. Dominic, you stabbed me in the back, but it wasn't deep enough. That line got me good. Oh. And then, Liv Morgan, you managed to run off with my title, but you cannot run off forever. And next time, I'm going to remind Liv and Dom who I am. At that point, you hear Rhea. It's Liv Morgan. She's with Dom. She's at, I want to say, like one level above where the first kind of section was. It's like right outside a lounge area. We're going to see that in a second. She's with Dom, and she says, see, Dom has something he'd like to get off his chest. So then Liv passes the microphone to Dom, and everyone and their mother starts booing because I agree. Dom starts off, Rhea, you want to know why I left you? Because you love hearing excuses. I wanted to be treated like a man and deserved to be treated like one. You tried to change me. And how embarrassing was it for you to have me bossed around? And she gives me whatever I want. And he mentions tendies, which is... no, Dom, don't talk like that, dude. That's weird. She lets me play Xbox. She lets me be me. And she does something you could never. She helped me beat my deadbeat dad. Beating that dead freaking horse. And now it's time for you to say something you haven't heard for a long time. Oh, this is Rhea replying. Dom, I'm going to say something to you that you haven't heard from a long time. I'm proud of you. I've been watching you grow into a man has been my greatest accomplishment. Why I didn't get involved in your feud with Ray, I wanted you to do it on your own. But now that you're making decisions like the man you are, it's the last one you're ever gonna make. And then Liv takes the microphone back. She says, one thing you said is true. Dom is a man, and he's all mine. You have nothing now, Rhea. Judgment Day, Dom, the title, it's all mine. Everything you love is mine. Then Rhea gets back on the mic. I'd love to shut you the hell up. You have taken a lot from me, but you've also taken my weak links. As long as I'm standing, you'll have to kill me to stop me. At that point, Priest appears like The Undertaker during the Boneyard match against AJ Styles behind him, in which huge pop, which is great. Dom and Liv turn around, and Priest just takes Dom, beats him down. They go into the lounge area. Liv tries to get involved. Rhea is then up there in like 2 seconds, that's athletic as hell. Pulls Liv off of Priest. They run off. And the brawl between Dom and Priest continues. Eventually they go back down to the ring. They brawl for him a little bit more. Priest goes for a South of Heaven. And then Carlito attacks Priest from behind. Priest fights back. This leads into our first matchup of the evening. It is Carlito versus Damian Priest. And I'm going to say this, I might get a little hate. This was the best match Carlito has had since he came back. Now, don't get me wrong, he's not a super worker, he never has been. This was a dang good matchup, though. A nice opener to establish Priest a little bit more, who wins via the South of Heaven chokeslam. Post-match, the rest of Judgment Day come back out, jumps Priest. Priest fights back out a little bit. Then Rhea comes out, makes the save. It's a big old super kick to Finn Balor. Priest was going for a South of Heaven on Finn. JD pulls him out of the ring. Then Dom's back in. He eats a South of Heaven. And then Priest and Rhea embrace. And as they're hugging, Dom goes for a diving attack, which I don't know what that was going to be. He gets caught by Priest mid-hug. Like, the coordination on that is insane. That's crazy. And as Priest is going for as Rhea is going for the Riptide, Liv Morgan pulls Dom out of the ring. So, definitely going to be interesting to see how this feud plays out. Do they push it until WrestleMania? Do they finish it at the Royal Rumble? I don't know. This is interesting times. The Judgment Day breakup. We then see Alpha Academy. They're talking in the back. I don't really hear any of it. But then in walks Ivy Nile, who says to Maxine, "You shouldn't be out there for this tag match later." With Maxine replying, "Look, I can't abandon them. They're my family." Ivy then says, "I'm going to talk to Chad about this." And then Maxine kind of stops her, says, "No, don't do that." Then Ivy says, "I thought you'd say that." Oof. Ivy with Creed Brothers and Chad Gable, that makes sense. Then we got a Bo Dallas backstage promo. He's in the dilapidated Firefly Funhouse set. Pretty much says, everything is coming for a circle. It's been heavy lately, especially with the match last week. Where it all started, the Wyatt Six made their debut. It's all for him. Something is happening. Something big is coming. And you are right. For you are my life. And he repeats that until the promo ends. I am loving these little backstage vignettes with, it's like old school tape. It's great. It's a great presentation. And it makes Bo Dallas look like a credible threat to anybody. This has been awesome. I can't wait to see what the Wyatt Six do next. As for something big coming, that could be literal Braun Strowman, or it could be them going after another big group, like, say, Judgment Day, perhaps? I don't know. So then we're still backstage. We see Xavier Woods. He walks into Odyssey Jones and Kofi Kingston. They're hyping each other up. Kofi then reveals that both Woods and himself are going to accompany Odyssey Jones to his match. And Woods doesn't look all that enthused about it. It's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens between these three. But first, we go to Odyssey Jones making his in-ring debut against Vincent Wiley, who is a NXT trainee, I think he is, or he's like on... He's on one of the NXT shows, I'm not sure. This was honestly a decent little matchup. Odyssey eventually won with the Black Hole Slam, which I love. This move is coming back. But then post-match, as Odyssey and Kofi and Woods are celebrating, out come the final Testament. That's Karrion Kross, Scarlett, Akam Razor, and Paul Ellering. With Kross taking the lead, saying, "Time out, time out. Is this another day for the New Day? Or more like more lies from Kofi? As you're using Odyssey Jones to replace Big E. But Kofi, are you really using Odyssey Jones to replace Woods?" Kofi then gets on the mic, says, "Kross, are you not tired of this? It's not going to work. And let's fast forward to see who steps up. Let's get everyone involved." Oates saying the devil's work is never done. That was Kross. So basically we're going to see a big old 6-man tag next week. Should be a good one. We then get Adam Pearce. He's backstage. He's on his cell phone talking about a couple of signings, I guess. I don't know. Then in walks Drew McIntyre. He gets off the phone. Says, "Look, Punk isn't here tonight. He's having some travel issues." Then Drew asks, "Is there anything I can do help you do with you with? I'm looking past SummerSlam. Punk is in my rear view. But my question, why Randy Orton, a SmackDown guy, is challenging for the world title? Randy Orton is a snake. He's going to strike on his terms. Tonight, I'm going to take care of this." And before Drew can walk away, Pearce puts his hand on his shoulder to try and stop him. Drew then kind of takes it off his shoulder, says, "Trust me, I'll be on my best behavior." Scout's honor. Oh, I love heel Drew. He's so good. Next up, we got a battle of the AAAM, aka the Alpha Academy. That's Otis and Akira Tozawa taking on American Made. That's Brutus and Julius Creed. Before the match gets started, we see a little footage of Chad Gable doing recruiting at the Olympics. He's in front. That's cool as hell. Like, I don't know who he could bring back. Is he going to bring back the Turkish sharpshooter? I don't know. It's definitely a fun little thing to have Chad Gable do something like that. That's cool as hell. Anyway, we get right into the matchup, and it's honestly a lot more than I thought these guys were going to get. Because, apparently Triple H doesn't really like tag team wrestling. But this was honestly a really, really good matchup. A lot of people, pretty much everyone got their stuff in. Including a World's Strongest Slam and a Caterpillar from Otis, which always gets me. I love Otis. He's great. And then while the guys were doing their thing outside the ring, Ivy Nile jumps the barricade and just attacks Maxine Dupree on the outside. That distracts Otis and Tozawa for a minute. Creed Brothers hit the roll-up to pick up a cheap victory. I would have liked to see a more dominant win from the Creeds, but I don't mind this. Maybe this feud keeps going. I'm not sure. Then we get to this weirdness. Not because of what was said, but where they were. Because the interview was being conducted before the show in an empty arena. I don't love when companies do this. Like, you want to get that big reaction from the crowd, do it in the arena. I don't know. It's a little nitpick from me. It's an interview with Pete Dunne. Who reveals, I was never really under Sheamus's wing. He held me down. Where did it get me? In front row to the Sheamus show. And also, where the heck is Ridge? He's on NXT now. And then the interview brings up his previous name, Butch. And he immediately stops her. He says, don't say that name. I never want to hear that name again. I have to shut Sheamus up myself. And I'm going to do that. So a Sheamus-Pete Dunne feud. I like that. I think that's going to be interesting. Then we get a replay / a kind of John Madden-esque, drawing of what's happening. With Reed crushing Seth Rollins with tsunamis about 8 times, which is insane. We then see Bronson Reed. He's backstage with Adam Pearce, who says Seth might be out for months. Reed then replies, you didn't give me the opportunity, and I took it out on Seth. Find me an opponent tonight, or I'm going to find my next victim. And he walks off. We then get a backstage promo from Damage Control. Right now, that's just Kairi Sane and Io Sky. I did try to keep up, but Japanese isn't my first language. It's not even my second language. But I did get some from the closed captioning. Pretty much said, Damage Control controls the future. Tonight we take steps to regain the tag titles. Let's make it simple tonight. We get our revenge for Dakota. We will stop your dreams. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We then cut to a Sonya Deville promo. She's being flanked by Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler. She says, Damage Control is done. Sit down. Show us respect. I tapped out Jade already. We're gonna run through the division again. And they reveal their stupid name, which I am not even gonna go over. So, before the next match starts, we have the tag team champions, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, on commentary. We then have a nice little Kevin Sullivan tribute. May he rest in peace. And then we get to this number 1 contenders match for the women's tag team titles. As Damage Control, that's Io Sky and Kairi Sane, take on Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler. And I am very surprised this match got a lot of time. A lot of really, really good back and forth. At one point, Io is going for an over the moonsault, but Sonya Deville gets up on the apron and distracts Io, who then eats a drop kick from Zoe. Some friendly fire to Alba Fire, although maybe not so much friendly fire. Back in, over the moonsault, and as Io has the pin, Dawn and Sky attack Io. and Fire and Dawn take out everyone. So, don't have number one contenders right now, although I do feel like we're going to see a triple threat. So, definitely an interesting match. Let's see where this whole feud goes. Then we see The Miz. He's backstage. He's stressed out. Then R-Truth walks in. He says, you've been said you lost to the Rock and Roll Express. Miz corrects him, 8-Town Down Under. But I got something to cheer you up. I got you an Intercontinental title match with Braun. And then we see off camera the image of the match come up. Miz looks like he's seen a ghost. Because it's not against Braun Breaker. It's against Bronson Reed. Ruh-roh. Miz tells him that. Then in walks Randy Orton, who then hypes up the Miz, saying, you got this. Go get him. So Miz walks off. He's going to get ready for his match. Then Truth turns to Randy. He says, do you think the Miz has a chance? Randy, I didn't really see his reaction, but I did see him walk off. Yeah, this is going to be interesting. So then we go to an in-ring Randy Orton promo. Gets on the microphone and says, little history for you. 20 years ago, I won my first world title. In Berlin, history repeats itself as I become 15-time world champion. I can't believe that happened 20 years ago. Oh my God, I feel old. And I'm not even that old. I'm in my mid-30s. Like, what the heck? This brings out Gunther, who gets in the ring, gets on the mic, says, take a picture, remember this moment, because, oh no, this is Randy. Because at Bash in Berlin, I'm taking that title and make Mondays my new home. Then Gunther gets on the mic, says, memorize this moment. Randy Orton, one of the best. Be honest. Be the greatest of all time. The most gifted talent in the industry. You were given talent and you wasted it. And in this new era of the Ring General, in my era, there is no room for people who waste potential. There is no room for you. Randy Orton then retorts, I'm not perfect. I've made a lot of mistakes. I own up to my mistakes. You forget who you're talking to. I'm Randy Orton, the most unpredictable superstar in the game. You think what I do is a curse? I think of it more as a gift. You may have your opinion about me, but I did it my way. And I'm the 14, soon to be 15-time world champion. Gunther retorts, you've done pretty well for yourself. All good for you. Very predictable. Bash in Berlin, I'm going to give you the beating of a lifetime, and you're never going to be world champion again. Ooh, them's fighting words. Gunther continues, why I'm so sure about that? When it matters, you screw up. It comes naturally to you. Your grandfather was a screw-up. Your father was a screw-up. And you're the biggest screw-up of all time. And then they have a stare down. I thought this was going to be the end of the segment, but out comes Drew McIntyre. And then Gunther goes to face Drew. Randy Orton with an RKO. Outside the ring, you see CM Punk jumps Drew from behind with a chair. Drew with a Glasgow kiss. Then Punk takes off his belt and just starts wham, wham. Belt shots all around. So, this is interesting. This feud is going to be interesting. I can't wait for the Randy Orton-Gunther match. Punk Drew, I guess they're going to have a strap match at Bash in Berlin, which sounds pretty darn cool. And then Gunther bringing up not only Cowboy Bob Orton, but Randy's grandfather too? Yikes. Man, that's going to be interesting. So then we cut to backstage for an interview with Sheamus. He says, I understand history. One history I cannot understand is Pete's beef. He blames me for everything that's happened, but he's trying to make himself relevant off of me. Well, I'm going to laser in. I'm far from over. Let's go again, Pete. And then as he's finishing, Pete Dunne attacks Sheamus from behind. That was nuts. Pete Dunne and Sheamus feud. Great start. Then we see CM Punk. He's kind of walking through the hallway. The interviewer finds him because, of course, she does. And Punk was asked, look, you're not wrong. We sat next to each other. I told a little lie to get my hands on Drew. And this isn't about the bracelet. It's the names on the bracelet that matter to me. I went farther to beat Drew down. Call me a hypocrite. He hates my guts, but he can keep the bracelet. Because I found a way to make everyone happy, and smacks the belt against his hand. So, yeah, it looks like we're getting a strap match at Bash in Berlin. Then maybe at Bad Blood to finish the feud, we're getting Hell in a Cell. Which, yeah, let's do it. Then we got this interesting little matchup as it's Bronson Reed taking on The Miz. And The Miz comes out white hot, tries to fight off Bronson Reed as best he can. Eventually, he goes for a crossbody, gets caught into a Death Valley driver. Tsunami for the win for Bronson Reed. He then goes back up to the top rope, goes for a tsunami. Truth pushes Miz out of the way and takes them himself. Like, damn, that's a good friend. R-Truth helping the Miz finally. Officials come out to try and stop him. It's another couple of tsunamis. Goes up for one more, but Adam Pearce is out. He talks Reed down. They're looking to walk out of the arena. Reed turns around, hits one last tsunami on Truth. Oh, poor Truth. So Bronson Reed Miz feud? Not where I thought I'd see him, but at least he's on the show. And we get Sami Zayn. He's backstage. He's warming up for his match. Then Jey Uso comes in, pretty much says, look, the way you're going to win is just beat you. You've already got a win over him. You can beat him again. Then you and me are going to face the Judgment Day and get the tag titles. You ready? Talk to me, Sammy. What's on your mind? I'm ready to go. And they do their secret handshake that I am not going to be able to reproduce. Then we get announced for Bash in Berlin, a mixed tag team match playa, as it's going to be Judgment Day members Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio taking on Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest. That's going to be fun. Honestly, if I'm WWE, maybe do a no DQ stipulation for this, or do something for this. So then we cut to a Judgment Day promo led by the Shield, Finn Balor, who says Judgment Day was supposed to be with no leaders, no egos, no Rhea, no Damian, no couple compares to me and Liv. We're gonna make Rhea and Priest pay. Damian, watch out. Backstabbers are calling you out. This is going to be interesting to watch. This is going to be a little bit of Car Crash TV, and I'm all for it. And then finally, we get to our main event of the evening. as it's Braun Breaker defending his Intercontinental title against Sami Zayn in a 2 out of 3 falls match. That means 1 pin, 1 submission doesn't finish the match. You gotta get another one. And honestly, this match was awesome. It was pretty much tick for tack, move for move. Eventually, Sami Zayn hits like a knot in the corner, a loofah kick. That gets him the first fall. Sami tries for a moonsault that gets caught into, in which the Braun Breaker tosses Sami Zayn into the announced timekeeper's area. They get back in. Braun Breaker with a Frankensteiner into a couple of spears for fall 2. So we're 1-1 going into the final bout. And they bring the entire fight, including a Steiner line, into the announce table, which is absolutely insane. Braun looks to hit a spear. He misses. Sami with a roll-up, only for a 2. Sami with a more traditional Helluva Kick, only for a 2. Sami goes for a superplex. That gets blocked. Sami goes for a crossbody. And then Braun spears him in midair. Like, what? And yeah, that solidifies Braun Breaker's win and his continued title reign. This was a heck of a main event. Very well paced. And honestly, everyone looked good. Like, we'll see what happens with Sami Zayn in the near future, but for now, this was a dang good matchup. I can't wait to see what Braun does next, and who steps up to him next time. Raw did, more times than not, has not felt like what it was in the previous regime. Honestly, I had so much fun watching this show. Nothing felt irrelevant or unimportant. So many people feel like they matter. It's great. Raw has been inspiring, almost. Although, we need to stop making it 3 hours. That is way too much. So, that was Monday Night Raw. We then move into NWA Power. You start off with a little hype video for Tom Latimer versus Thrillbilly Silas Mason, which is going to be our main event. We'll get to that in a little bit. Actually, no, it's not the main event. It's the second match. What the heck? Anyway, first matchup, we got Knox and Murdoch taking on Matthews and Bison. I did not catch their full team name. I do apologize for that. But, yeah, this was a fun little matchup, at least for the bigger guys. For Knox and Murdoch. The opponents definitely brought it after a while, but eventually Knox and Murdoch hit the high-low to pick up the win. So, nice little energetic opening matchup. We then go to a Joe Kazana promo, hyping up JCP as the best territory in the NWA. And now we got the best team in the NWA with KC going up against the world champion next week. And then AJ teaming with, I forget who it was. It was Terror Rising next week to take on Idol and Markova. You think you're beautiful? Hell, my boy's been in a Moon Pie commercial. JCP is the best territory on the planet. Prove me wrong. We then get another Only Slams vignette, which I am interested to see what that's going to be. We then go to our next matchup, as it's for the NWA National title, as Tom Latimer takes on the man who relinquished the title. He was never beat. Thrillbilly Silas Mason. And oh boy, this was dang close to being a hoss fight. Now I know Latimer is a little smaller, but good lord, he wrestles like he's a big guy. And they go absolutely everywhere in the arena. And as Latimer hits the brighter side of suffering, out comes Taylor and Kerry Morton of the Southern Six to attack Latimer. So the match is thrown out. So your winner via DQ is Tom Latimer. I do understand where they're going with this. This is a big time matchup. They could put on one of their bigger shows. I do wish there was a better finish to this. We then get a promo from Anthony Quintera. I'm not sure where he came from. But he's here to introduce himself to the NWA faithful. And I'm here to steal the show. Nice short and sweet promo from the kid. Definitely interested to see not only his style, but also a bit more of his attitude. Because I dig it. We then get an interview from Billy Corgan, who is the owner of the NWA, and Rush Friedman, who we haven't seen in a while. So, it's revealed that Rush has been all around the territories. But then Corgan says that we got a letter from you saying you were going to leave wrestling, which confuses Rush, who says, look, something's missing here. I didn't write a letter. I was always going to take some time off, spend some time with my family, heal up, but I'm not retired. Then Corgan says, look, the letter we got was signed by you. So you didn't send this? No. So then, are you okay with Bradley Pierce coming back? Rush then says, look, Pierce is a scumbag. I'm never going to give him the time of day. Yes, I've been away. I've been through some tough, dark times. But I had to take time away. I still love wrestling and the NWA. Corgan then replies, I appreciate you. The door is always open. I'm going to find a way to clean this shit up. You know how your brother is. Talking about Rolando. So, maybe poking the bear a bit on who actually wrote that letter. So, Rush Rolando feud could be interesting. Then we get an Aaron Stevens / Trevor Murdoch face-to-face interview with Murdoch calling Aaron Moron Stevens. People have spoken. You couldn't get rid of us. You took my national title, but now we're taking the tag team titles. We want what you have, and we're going to take it. Then Stevens replies, I don't know how to put them on. BFT is the greatest team ever. Your attempt is as useful as an ashtray on a motorcycle. I don't even know what that means. And we're going to use that small problem against you. Do something about it. So that small problem is obviously Eric Smalls. In which, are we going to see Smalls turn on Murdoch and Knox? In which, I don't think that would be a very good idea. Anyways, definitely some fighting words. tag team title match is going to be interesting. Speaking of tag team title matches, the women's tag team titles are on the line as the Queen Bees defends against La Rosa Negra and Ruthie J. And honestly, this match was a lot of fun to watch. A lot of really good back and forth. My only issue is that these two were both baby faces, so there really wasn't a clear cut who we should cheer for. But honestly, all these ladies really brought it today, including a win after King hit the King's Kiss and B hit the elbow drop into a DDT for the win for the King Bees. It's definitely fun to see something a little different in the main event. I'm glad these two teams got some time. And yeah, let's see where this goes in the future, because I think NWA could use some more women's tag teams. So, we'll see what happens from there. NWA was really solid. They're having a really good build to NWA 76. And yeah, I'm definitely psyched to see where this goes. And finally, we got AEW Dynamite, which was it was definitely more of an ad for All In, but holy cow, this was a good show. Including our opening matchup for the TBS title as Hikaru Shida challenges Mercedes Moné. I never thought I'd be seeing this match ever in my life, and it lived up to the hype. This was such a good matchup. And while Camille did get involved time and time, a couple of times, including in near the main event where Hikaru Shida took out her kendo stick, hit a couple of shots to Camille. Moné then takes the kendo stick. With the ref distracted, Camille hits a big old boot, gets her back in the ring, Moné hits the Moné Maker for the win. And then as Moné and Camille are celebrating, out comes Dr. Britt Baker's music hits. Then we see a Britt with a Sting mask on and a hoodie holding Moné Poop or whatever it was sign. Camille then goes out, pulls the fan, Baker, over the barricade and starts beating them down, which probably going to be a plant. Then we see Dr. Baker come in from the other side of the crowd, in which I'm going to say this. They shouldn't have shown that because, one, Moné could have easily saw that on the screens and preempted. And two, Britt took a bit long to get to the ring. So, some issues, but whatever. Eventually, Baker does get on the apron, puts on her glove for her submission. Moné eventually sees her, tries to go attack Baker. Baker then goes in for the lockjaw, but Camille saves Moné and takes her out of the ring. Looks like Camille is going to get back in and fight Baker. Baker fights her off with a kendo stick. So, yeah, this is definitely going to be an interesting little feud. I cannot wait for this match. This match is going to be great. Then we see backstage, it's Jeff Jarrett and his crew. They're getting interviewed. But before the interview could really get going, Adam Hangman Page attacked pretty much everybody. Then Hangman kind of walks off. We then get Jay Lethal's side. Hangman a thorn on our side. We don't like Hangman. But then Hangman comes back, beats up Jay Lethal, grabs him by the haunches, by, the shirt collar, And they go in the ring. Hangman rolls them into the inside. Ding, ding, ding. The match is on. So we got Jay Lethal versus Hangman Page. And I'm going to say this. Do not sleep on this match. This match was absolutely awesome. Both guys absolutely brought it. But eventually, Hangman Adam Page picked up the win after a buckshot lariat. Definitely a fun match. I'm gonna see what they got cooking. Then we get this little interesting thing. So MJF defended his America title at Rev Pro, which is Will Ospreay's old promotion in the UK, against current British Wrestling Champion Michael Oku. And they showed footage from that, which that was really cool. We then get a little hype package from Will Ospreay versus MJF, which that match is going to be awesome. Then we cut to backstage. It is a Pac promo, who asked, who is the number one contender to the international title? Oh, it's not Ospreay, it's me. And Ospreay goes behind my back and gets this match at All In, and I'm treated like a bub. In preempting this, I will face whoever is champion at All Out, which is a couple weeks after All In. Whether it's MJF or Ospreay, I don't care. I'm getting that title back. We then get an interesting little Darby Allin vignette where he's hyping up his match with Jack Perry. We then go to either it was going to be a match or it was going to be an in-ring promo by Darby Allin. But before it could happen, a masked man attacks Darby Allin on the ramp. It's revealed to be Jack Perry. The beatdown continues. They brawl to the back. Jack Perry uses a trash can on Darby Allin. And then he rams Darby into a steel door. And then, as Darby is laying there, he lowers the door on him. And then he gets a production case, which holds like cameras or whatever for the company. He's going to ram it into the door. But security stops him. And then it's revealed Jack Perry wants a casket match at All In. Personally, I think it's a little soon in the feud for something like that. But, yeah, that should be fun. Then we get this little interesting Mariah May promo saying, is it more important to be remembered or be feared? Tony, I'm not like you. Last year, you failed at Wembley. This year, I'm going to make this about me and not you. You want to be a star? Well, now it's time to burn. I have a chance to dream. And whatever happens to Tony Storm at Wembley, it'll be time to write your eulogy. Dang! Okay. Mariah May putting some gas on the fire. I'm all about that. We then get an interview from Mina Shirakawa. Good to see her back in AEW as she spent time in Japan. Although she's not an AEW regular. So, she says, I'm not here to back Storm or May. I can't believe my eyes seeing what's going on between them now. I can't believe these are the same people. I just hope in their match that no one gets hurt. Me too, Mina. Me too. Although I got a funny feeling she's going to make a choice at All In. Not sure what, though. So next up, we got a triple threat where the winner gets an automatic spot in the Casino Gauntlet match at All In. Our participants, Orange Cassidy, Roderick Strong, and Kyle O'Reilly. And yes, that is that is two members of the conglomeration taking one member of the Undisputed Kingdom. And I'll say this was definitely a fun little triple threat match. A lot of really good back and forth. A lot of, teaming together. Like you had Cassidy and Riley teaming up against Strong. Eventually Strong and O'Reilly team up a little bit as well. Then O'Reilly kind of kicks him out. About halfway through, the other members of the Kingdom, that's Mike Bennett and Matt Taven. Then who comes out to fight them off? It's Ishii and Jay Briscoe, aka the other two members of the conglomeration. Those four brawl to the back. They keep fighting. Roderick Strong locks in a Texas Cloverleaf, but that gets broken up by Kyle O'Reilly. Kyle goes for a powerbomb. Roderick Strong blocks it into a back. Actually, that's Orange Cassidy. Hits a beach break. Only gets two. Goes for an orange punch. That gets blocked by Kyle O'Reilly with a big kick. Roderick Strong tries for an armbar. Kyle O'Reilly then puts in an ankle lock. Cassidy once again going for the orange punch, but that misses. Then Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly hit it like a high-low, only getting a 1, because they both went for a pin. So eventually they keep fighting. Strong goes for an armbar again. That gets blocked. Orange Cassidy then walks in, hits a roll-up to pick up the win and his spot at All In. Definitely going to be interesting to see where that goes. Maybe Kyle turns on the conglomeration. I don't know. We'll see. Then we get Kyle O'Reilly. He's in the ring. He's a little distraught. He lost. Cassidy turns to him, extends his hand, and they shake. So, yeah, this is definitely going to be interesting to see where this goes. I wouldn't be surprised if Kyle O'Reilly cost Orange Cassidy the match. And maybe they feud for a bit, which I wouldn't be against. Then we get the backstage Claudio Castagnoli, Kazuchika Okada face-to-face, with Claudio starting off saying, that title means a whole lot to me. In the Continental Classic, it was mine to win. I was disappointed I didn't, but I'm going to keep on fighting. We got next week is our first Dynamite in the UK, and I'm going to be walking out as champion. Then Okada starts golf clapping, which is, it's good. Then he says, nice speech. You're not the champ. I'm the greatest wrestler ever. I'm going to beat you in the UK. Good luck, bitch. And then Okada walks off. Claudio then continues. He says, look, I don't get this version of Okada. I want the true Okada next week. I want the Rainmaker. Next week, I'm going to bring my best. You better be ready, Okada. Because this bitch will be number 1. Yeah. That match is going to be awesome. I can't wait for that. Then we get a backstage interview from the Patriarchy, aka Christian Cage. Pretty much says, look, on Collision last week, I called it right down the middle. Neither team could get it done. They couldn't win here in AEW. And I'm going to hold every title here. Nick Wayne is going to make an example of Kip Sabian on Rampage. However, I'm not going to be there. Then the interviewer says something. I forget what she says, but it offends Christian Cage enough to kick her out of the interview. Then Christian Cage says, "The patriarchy are the faces of TBS now and forever." Oh, does that sound familiar? That is the opening, credits of WWE programming. Then, now, forever, together. That's a low shot, and I like it. A little dig at the competition. Then we get an in-ring interview from the recently returned Hook, who says to the camera, "I can't see out of this eye." The eye he got burnt on by Chris Jericho. "You took me out. I see a problem for you. But I can see you just fine out of this one. I want my title back, Chris, and I'm going to fight you here and now for it." So out comes not only Chris Jericho, but Big Bill and Brian Keith. Jericho then has a microphone. He stays on the ramp. He says, "You really are a stupid SOB, aren't you? After I blinded you, you still challenge me to a fight. You want that fight? You want it?" He drops the microphone. He starts taking off his shirt, ready to go. Then he picks up the microphone and says, "Not tonight. You're not getting one tonight. It's not worth my time. How about instead we give it a go at Wembley? I'm going to give you a shot at All In. You're going to have your shot. And when I win, it's going to be your final one. And you're going to walk out of the Jericho Vortex forever." And deal 2, next week you're going to face Big Bill. So Hook responds, "At All In, I'm going to beat you down. I'm going to take down your giant next week. I accept. See you at Wembley. I'm looking forward to it. And after Wembley, you're going to never, ever gonna be the same again." Hook doing a Jericho line from the WWE. Oh my God, that got me good. That was a good line. That match is going to be interesting. Hopefully it's not it is FTW rules, because that match may need it. And then we go to our next match, our next title match, and it's for the AEW Tag Team titles, as the Young Bucks defend against the Acclaimed. We see on the ramp, as the Bucks are making their entrance, the Acclaimed jumps the Young Bucks on the stage. They brawl to the ring. Young Bucks with a couple of baseball slides and then the dives. Gets them back in the ring. The bell rings. Start off with Matthew and Bowens. And yeah, this match was a lot of fun to watch. It was so good. It was a little slow to start, but eventually it did get there. This felt like an absolute war. Eventually, the Bucks did go for a TK driver, but that gets blocked. Eventually, we got that ref bump. A low blow by Nicholas, who then Matthew goes out of the ring, grabs one of the AEW tag title belts. Looks like he's going to take a shot at the Acclaimed. Then who comes out? FTR. They take the title. Looks like he's going to hit Matthew. Drops it. And then they just start fighting the Young Bucks. So that calls for the bell. So your winners via disqualification is the Young Bucks. So Acclaimed and FTR get into each other's faces. They're kind of arguing. Billy Gunn then comes out, separates the two. And then, security breaks up a potential brawl. So, this is definitely an interesting situation. I would like to see the Acclaimed win, because they kind of got a little gypped after their one title reign. But, FTR versus the Acclaimed in the near future should be fun. Speaking of that, we go backstage to Christopher Daniels' interview. He says, look, if the Bucks beat the Acclaimed tonight, I'd be fine with the result. But that result was not definitive. So on Collision, it's going to be FTR versus the Acclaimed, with the winners getting the Young Bucks at All In. So, that should be a fun one. Then we got... excuse me. Then we get a tribute video to Bryan Danielson set to Time of Your Life, which, single tear. Oh, that was beautiful. AEW trying to make me cry. Like, why do you do this? Then we get a Swerve Strickland Bryan Danielson hype video for All In. Then before the first match, we see Bryan Danielson. He's got a front row seat for our main event, as it's Wheeler Yuta taking on Swerve Strickland, aka the World Heavyweight Champion. And this match was absolutely awesome. Each guy worked really, really well with one another. You got Yuta with his more technical style. Swerve kind of mix of brawling and technical, but it worked. So, with the win is Swerve. Actually, near the end, you had Swerve locking in the cattle mutilation, but Yuta powers out. Swerve then with a couple of house calls into the usual Danielson holding the arms and stomps move. So that causes the ref to stop the match. Swerve keeps going with the stomps, so Bryan gets in the ring to help Yuta. Swerve then bails, gets on the microphone, says, I got a message for you, Bryan. I'm the most dangerous man in AEW, and I'm going to show you firsthand at All In. You think you're going to bring your family, and I'm going to do the same thing to you I just did to Yuta in front of your daughter. And I'm going to force you to retire when I crippled you. And as Danielson goes to check on Yuta, Swerve comes in. It's a house call on Bryan from behind. I love how easy Swerve is to adjust to the feud. Because last feud he was a babyface. Now he's the heel fighting Bryan Danielson in potentially his last match ever. This is going to be nuts. I cannot wait for All In. I wouldn't say this was an average Dynamite. I thought it was really, really good. A lot of good action. A lot of good hype, too. Especially that one vignette of Danielson set to Time of Your Life, which, if you didn't at least feel a little sad after that, you're insane. So, above average episode of Dynamite. Definitely an interesting week, that's for sure. Continues tonight with SmackDown and Rampage, then tomorrow on Collision. Definitely going to be interesting to watch. I can't wait for it all. Till next time, happy wrestling, everybody. Peace.